functional pelvic floor, it's necessary to down-train those pelvic floor muscles. So like any muscle in the body, we want the pelvic floor to be able to have the potential to contract and lift, and also to fall. And without having that full range, you won't have the strength of the pelvic floor. So often before you can engage in a pelvic floor strengthening program, you need to learn how to down-train the pelvic floor first and get that length back in the muscle. If I use a common visual, we all know about our bicep here. So the bicep is able to lengthen and have its full range long, and then it's able to contract and have a shorter range. So in that same aspect, we want the pelvic floor to work through full range, because if we're not working through full range, we don't have functional strength. So the next few stretches that we go through are all going to be about elongating and creating as much relaxation around the pelvic floor as possible to help us get that functional strength back into the pelvic floor. So within our deep squat position, I'm going to go through a few different cues for you, and I encourage you to close down your eyes and really visualize these changes happening in your body. So to start with, I'll get you to just ever so slightly poke your hips backwards a little bit. So my hips aren't tucked underneath me. I've got a little bit of a poke in them, as this allows me to have a little bit more space through that pelvic girdle. Alright, so close down those eyes for me. Alright, the first thing I want you to do in this position is just thinking about letting your belly hang. So this isn't the time to try and show off your six-pack. You want to let your belly hang, and all the tension in your abdominals, you want to relax that as well. This can take tension off the front of the pelvic floor. I now want you to think about your sit bones. So you might want to touch them if you need, or you might be able to locate them in your mind. And I want you to relax any tension between those sit bones. So it's almost like you can feel the sit bones get wider apart or splay out a little bit further. You now might tune into your pubic bone at the front here, and just create any space behind that pubic bone, let go of any tightness there might be. Then take your attention out to the sit bone on the left and relax any tension around there. Take your attention around to the back of the pelvic floor, around your tailbone, and relax any tension around the tailbone. And the same on the right sit bone. Relax any tension around that right side. Use your breath. Every time you're breathing out, see if you can get a little bit more relaxation around those sit bones, pelvic floor and tailbone. We want to create lots of space. Right, we're going to give our legs a little break, coming down onto the mat now. And I want you to come into a nice big straddle sit position, or V-sit as I like to call it. In this position, if you find that you can't sit with your back straight, if you're tucked underneath and you're kind of sliding on the back of your sit bones, roll up your mats, grab a couple of towels or a couple of books so that you can bring yourself right back onto the top of your sit bones. Alright, so finding your comfortable position. And I'm just going to encourage you in this position to really sit yourself right onto the top of the sit bones, and maybe even lean slightly forward. Again, that's going to help create a little bit more space in that pelvic girdle. If you need, booty scoot and pull your bottom cheeks out from underneath your sit bones. That'll help get you into a better position. And then we're going to relax our belly, trying to create space around the pelvic floor, the front, sides, and the back. Keep letting that belly relax, let it hang. create space. Think about your sit bones getting wider because your pelvic floor is getting longer. If you can maintain that space and that relaxation, you can start to lean forwards, but you can only lean if you can feel that you're getting that good amount of space in that pelvic girdle. If you're feeling any tightness, I just want you to stay with the upright position. So now that I've got about a 30-degree lean and I'm starting to feel a little bit of tension coming in around the pubic bone, so I'm going to relax my belly. I'm going to let it hang a little bit more. I'm going to relax the sit bones, creating space between them, making sure my glutes stay relaxed. I'm not clenching them, my tailbone's kind of poking out the back. Just gradually allow yourself to tip forwards as it feels comfortable for you. Again, if you need to stay upright, that's totally fine. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey. The exercise in itself will be helping to relax those muscles. It doesn't matter how far you can fall into the stretch. All right, you're going to either cross your legs or stack your legs, depending on your mobility. Again, if you look at my spinal posture, I'm sitting tall on my sitting bones. I have enough mobility to do that. I'm not in a position where my spine is rounded and my tailbone's tucked under me. And you can even hear in my breath, I become labored when I'm in that position. It doesn't feel good. So you want to try and be on the top of your sit bones. If you need to, fold your mats or sit on a couple of books or something. Alright, so from our leg stack or our cross-legged position, I want you to scoot your bottom out from underneath you to make sure you can feel those sit bones on the earth. And try and get as much width between those sit bones as you can. So let go of any tension around your sit bones, around your glutes, around your tailbone. Relax your belly. Try and let that belly go, let it hang so that you don't have any tension on the front of your pubic bone. And then if you feel you've done a good job creating space, you can start to create your lean forward, but don't go too fast. Because at different degrees, you're going to come into tension again. So stop when you get to that point of tension. Hone in. Are your sit bones relaxed? Do they have space? Is your tailbone released? Might be slightly poking out, which is good. We don't want it tucked underneath. Is your belly hanging? Let that belly hang. Soften around your pelvic bone. Soften around your sit bones. Booty scoot if you need to create a little bit more range. Let your belly hang. Use your breath. Each time you're breathing out, see if you can sink further down into the stretch. You may not be able to get more lean, but you may be able to get more relaxation and more space for that pelvic floor to lengthen. Okay, we're going to swap legs. So the leg that was on top or in front is now going underneath. Go into your cross leg or your leg stack position. Booty scoot your bottom out from underneath you so that you're sitting well on the tops of your bottom bones. And we're going to work on letting go. So we're going to try to create space around our sit bones, around our pubic bone, tailbone. We're going to let our belly hang. That's it, let it go, don't hold on to it, let the belly hang. We don't want any tension in that belly right now. As you lean forwards, you might start to feel that your sit bones come even further apart because you get a little bit of a tip and they kind of fan out to the side. We want that length. Allow that length to happen. Don't hold it tight. We want space around our perineum. We want that pelvic floor to lengthen. Soften around your sit bones. At any point, if you feel your sit bones start to grip, give them that little booty scoot. Remind them that length is positive right now. In order to have a strong muscle, we need range. So we need the pelvic floor to lengthen and contract. Not just contract, lengthen and contract. Let your belly hang. Use your breath to help you move further into the stretch. Let go around the pubic bone, let go around your sit bones, release your tailbone. Let your belly go, keep your pubic bone soft, keep your sit bones soft. Okay, this time we're just going to go into a single leg hamstring stretch. So one leg out, one leg in. All right, here I want you, oh, quick cramp, eek. All right, here I want you to find that point of relaxation again. So we're sitting on the top of our bottom bones, spine's nice and straight. Let the belly hang, create space around the pubic bone, around the sit bones. If you need to, do a booty scoot to help you create that space on the sides of the pelvic floor. Release your tailbone. As you feel you can, we're going to start to move into a single leg hamstring stretch, keeping that space. And then add the other arm over the top so that you're now starting to get a big side body stretch. So from my hip all the way up through my rib cage and the side of my shoulder blade, I'm now feeling that stretch. And I'm going to focus back on my pelvic floor now. So I'm going to let my belly hang. Relax around the sit bones. Relax around the tailbone. Relax around the pubic bone. Keep those muscles nice and long. All right, let's swap sides. Sitting tall, right at the top of your sit bones, booty scoot if you need to. All right, you need to find that relaxation before you start to move into your stretch. So close down those eyes, let your belly hang, release any tension around your sit bones. Use a booty scoot if you need to help you take the tension off. When you're ready, start to move into your hamstring stretch, provided that you've created that space in your pelvic floor. So release your belly, let your belly hang. Create space and relax any tension around or behind your pubic bone. Allow your sit bones to splay and become lengthened and softened. Release your tailbone. You always want to make sure that tailbone's not tucking under. If anything, it's just letting go and it's tipping. So it's almost poking. You're wagging your tail a little bit. Keep that length. Let your belly hang. Use your breath. With every breath out, you're trying to relax the tension around your pelvic floor. Let your belly hang. Let your sit bones splay further apart. Release any tension around your pubic bone or your tailbone. Coming up into a into a butterfly stretch. So we've got the soles of our feet together, knees out to the side. Now you can booty scoot your bottom out from underneath you, or you can tip side to side. You want to slightly poke your tailbone backwards to help you get that space in your pelvic floor. And then we're doing what we've done for every other stretch. We're letting go of the belly, letting the belly hang. We're creating space between the sit bones. We're creating space behind the the pubic bone. If you feel you can start to lean forwards. Relax the belly, let it go. Release your tailbone. Check in with your sit bones. Create as much space between them as you can. Let go of your belly. Create space there. Alright, one last stretch. This is not suitable for all people. If you don't have the hip mobility for it, by all means skip it. You've done plenty of work already. This is just for those who've got the ability to get into this position without any pain. We're going to come onto our knees into a froggy stretch position. So my knees are wide and my feet are turned out to the side, and my chest is going down, my bum's going to be in there, and I'm trying to allow my knees to relax out to the side. I'm going to rest my chest down, and in this position I'm going to let go. So I'm letting go of my tailbone, letting go of the tailbone, letting go of my sit bones, letting them become wider, letting go of my pelvic floor. If you're much higher above the ground than I am, you might want to place some pillows underneath your chest. Or if you're pregnant and your belly is much bigger than my pregnant belly at this stage, place some pillows under your chest so that you're not squash and bub. Create space. Let your belly go. Let your sit bones widen. Beautiful. So that is a pelvic floor down training sequence that you can work on, so that you're getting the length back in your pelvic floor, and that way you can start to build your pelvic floor functional strength up, because we can't have good strength if the muscle doesn't have the ability to contract and relax. So sometimes our starting point is to get relaxation first, and then we can build back up into having a contraction, then we can build our contraction to hold for longer and become stronger. Thanks for joining me.